Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Tuesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go to our friends over in the US in particular. Of course, we've got a very special guest, of course, in the sport of softball in particular. And of course, her name's Megan. She joins us right now to tell us a bit about her softball journey so far. Thanks, Megan, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. Well, tell us a bit about how's this year going for you in regards to softball.
It's been great. So I actually just moved like 3 weeks ago to Florida. And so I've got a lot going on. I am traveling probably every other week for clinics. And I've been traveling now. It's almost been a year since I started to travel and go to different states and see different teams. So it's been good, just really, really busy.
Now, you mentioned that you made the move to Florida a couple of weeks ago now, but you said you've done some plenty of clinics, and especially now it's almost the summertime down there, over there in the US at the moment. So tell us a couple of the clinics that you've done recently.
Yeah. So it honestly just varies. Every clinic is different. So like I said, I've been traveling now for a year. I started my YouTube channel back in September of 2019. So it's been, almost 2 years, or I guess like a year and a half now. And my goal with that was just to put out videos for coach own. And it kind of just took off from there. I had coaches reaching out saying, hey, will you travel, to this state? My first one was Boston and Massachusetts. And I was like, sure, why not? So after I did that, it was posted on social media. A lot of other coaches saw that. And then, they're sending me emails asking if I could go to their state. So my most recent one, I was just in Tennessee this last weekend. I'm going to Houston in a couple weeks. So, and every clinic's different. Sometimes I'll work with private organizations. Other times it's open to the public, but it just depends on that state.
One of my favorite states, they're over there in Tennessee. So whereabouts did you go in Tennessee?
Nashville.
How was it over there in Nashville in regards to like their love for softball?
Yeah, so it was really hot over there actually. It was like in the 80s. But I didn't get to explore. I did work with 2 different teams, and I had a public clinic. So I didn't get to explore a lot, which I think I'm going to go back soon and hopefully see the city.
Now, what's the plan going into Houston?
So Houston, I'm going to be working with a private organization one of the days, and then the other day is it's open to the clinic. So I usually go about 28 girls a session. We'll focus on infield, outfield, and hitting, and they last about 2.5 hours.
Considering you're over there in Florida at the moment, have you got any plans to do any clinics in the Sunshine State?
Yeah, so I've been doing probably for the past 2 weeks. I haven't had plans to do a public clinic yet, which I'm 100%. Softball is very big here in Florida, so that's definitely on my radar. But I do not have anything scheduled yet. Just working with teams right now, and then I'm going to start to do some private lessons.
Tell us, for everyone in Australia, what sort of things do you do in your clinics?
So with defense in my clinic, specifically infield, I focus a lot on footwork. I feel like it's really important to have very good footwork as an infielder. Just making sure you have the proper steps, the short choppy steps. You don't want to be heavy. You want to be light on your feet. So I do a lot of that. Outfield, we'll just kind of work on the basics, just mainly throwing, because I feel like throwing is not, we don't hone in enough on those fundamentals. So I work on throwing. And then with hitting, I'll show them maybe like, I don't know, 6 to 7 drills, walk around, make sure everyone's, again, their fundamentals are in place. So biggest emphasis with these are, it doesn't matter how old you are, how great you are, you're never too good to do the fundamentals, do the basics. So I'm always preaching, you always want to work on the basics to be a better player.
Let's talk a bit about your softball journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it?
So when I was 5, I started T-ball. My dad was actually a baseball coach growing up. He coached in college. And so I was just always around the game. I started when I was 5 and I just kind of took off from there. I played in college. I was a middle infielder, a righty, a slapper. I played a lot of sports aside from softball, which I think really helped me, but played through college. And then afterwards, I really never thought I had like a corporate job. But I had an opportunity arise where I was just like, sure, I'll go do it. And then from there, I started doing private lessons, and then I started my YouTube channel, and then kind of the rest is history.
Let's talk a bit about your college journey. So I'm assuming you were there for the full 4 or 5 seasons over there. So whereabouts did you go for college? And tell us a bit about your college journey there.
Yeah, so I played at Appalachian State in North Carolina. We were in the mountains. I got recruited late I had other options. Appalachian State came late in the process, but I just love the atmosphere. I love their sports atmosphere. Their football was really good. And I ended up choosing them, and it was the best decision ever. I had a couple years that were a bit of a struggle, but I'm a very competitive person, and I wasn't going to let those struggles define me or take me down. So I played shortstop 3 years, second base 1 year. We were good. We were just 1 year. We probably could have been a lot better than what we were, but I still have all my best friends, played at App with me, and I still have that friendship now. So it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Now, you mentioned about that, App State. Of course, that's in Boone in North Carolina, as you mentioned. So how was it like there in the mountains?
Cold. It was good. There was many times before games in the spring where we're shoveling snow off the field, and I'm not even making that up. So in the fall, beautiful. You've got the leaves changing, but yeah, winter's tough. We didn't see the field. We didn't see dirt until our first game usually, and that was like when we would travel.
We know what that's like. We've been over there during your winter, so I know how cold it can be over there. So now you mentioned about you played in multiple positions in your college journey. Did you have a preference?
Shortstop. I love short. I grew up playing shortstop. It was my main position. I did play third base some. I played some second as well, but it was mainly shortstop. So the year that I went in college and played second, it was it wasn't a struggle. It was definitely just, prepared me for that, because they always moved us around in the infield, made sure we knew some other positions. So as much as I did love shortstop, I was completely fine, being a second baseman.
I guess you mentioned about shortstop a moment ago. For anyone who doesn't know much about softball, what does shortstop entitle?
I think, Kenyon, if you're a shortstop, you are a leader. You're kind of like the captain of the infield. You're making sure your third base is doing what they're supposed to, the second baseman, and you're helping the pitcher out. And so you definitely get a lot of action at shorts for sure. Your cover base, you're fielding ground balls. But I think the biggest thing is shortstop. You got to be a good leader vocally.
What would be a highlight in your college journey?
I would say, for me personally, I struggled my junior year. We got a new coach. Just a couple things weren't going my way, and it was tough. I struggled my junior year. Going into my senior year, I actually was still playing second base. My goal was to play shortstop. I really enjoyed shortstop. And unfortunately, one of the got hurt who was playing shortstop, so I took over, and I ended up being all conference, doing really well. And that's just I'm one of those things. I'm really proud of myself, overcoming some obstacles and still grinding and putting the work in. And when I got my chance, I was able to succeed.
What does the sport of softball mean to you now? And are you hoping to maybe get back into playing again?
Mm-hmm. So softball to me, right now it's hard to put in words, but it's one of those things where when I go and do these clinics and I do my lessons, it's like my escape. It's kind of like my therapy, something where I try to preach to my girls, like when you're at practice and you're going to these tournaments, this should be your time to forget everything else, forget your homework, forget, the fights you're having with your friends. Like this should be your escape, just to have fun. Obviously you want to win, you have to work hard, but the relationships you build within the sport are just so special. And yeah, it's just one of those, it's hard to put in words, but it's just one of those. Softballs will always be dear in my heart, and I will always love it. But in regards to playing, No,
Uh,
my body hurts. I can't do it anymore.
when you finished college, what was your thinking? Was it to still play softball, or was it now? When was it more into what you're doing now?
No, so actually I got a degree in marketing. And I just thought I was going to be in the corporate world, just, kind of like what everyone else thinks. Like I didn't really have a plan. I knew I wanted to play softball in college. I didn't have a plan after. I did help coach a high school team, but it wasn't anything big. But then I got an opportunity to do lessons probably 6 years later. And I was like, man, let's try it. And then ever since I started doing private lessons, that's when my softball career took off for, coaching. So this was never my intention. But I'm really, really glad where I ended up, and I'm still going.
Is there any plans of coaching at your alma mater there in App State?
No, I don't know if I don't think I want to coach in college. I think I love what I'm doing now, just, reaching the youth and helping grow the game there.
Have you managed to go to any of their games since you finished college?
A couple. It's been a couple years. I actually just had Alumni Day this past weekend, but I was in Nashville doing that clinic, so I didn't get to go. But yeah, it's been a couple years though.
How was it like when you went back there a couple times?
It just puts me in my feels. It's such a bittersweet feeling because I graduated 10 years ago, but some days it feels like yesterday. Um, Again, I miss my softball. App was just super special to me, but it's also so great to see how far I've come since college. So, yeah, it's bittersweet. I miss it. I miss it so much. But again, it's been 10 years, so I should probably start to get over it. But sometimes I can't. I miss it.
So, what are your future ambitions now in softball?
Just keep growing the game. Right now, I'm going to keep riding this wave of going to do clinics, working with teams, giving lessons. I think it's really important. And I think the game is getting a lot bigger. It's on played on TV now. You see a lot more games on ESPN, which is awesome. So I want to help coaches, coach their girls, and I want to help girls give them drills so they can work on their own and just continue to grow the game.
Any plans to, coming down to Australia to maybe do some softball coaching?
No, I would love to. That is definitely, I would say Australia, New Zealand, they're definitely on my bucket list, but that's just a really long flight. So I got to get my mind right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, so what would be your advice to people out there that should get involved in softball?
Give it 100%. That's probably the number one thing I preach doing these clinics. I don't care what sport you're doing. I mean, obviously I'm softball, but it's just in life, whatever you're doing, go 100%, make the most of it. But with softball, just have fun. I feel a lot of the younger generations, like the younger girls, the coaches are a little tense, which I appreciate. These girls are young, they're 10, they're 9, they should be enjoying this game. So have fun, but work hard.
For all the Aussie kids that think about maybe I should go over to college and play softball over there, what's the one advice that you would give them?
Time, you gotta balance your time well. You're doing 6-hour practices. Well, that includes like weightlifting and practice. You have homework, you're trying to keep a social life. So staying organized, going to class, because you're going to get in trouble if you don't do that. But just make sure you manage your time well, which I also I know it takes you further in life being a student athlete, because you do have to manage your time well. So, and also giving 100%.
So let's finish off with a couple of lighthearted questions as well, which is any embarrassing moments throughout your softball journey in college by any of your teammates or yourself?
Myself, I was embarrassed because there was one game, and I actually give this example a lot. I made 3 errors at shortstop, and to the point where softball is such a mental game to begin with that after the 3rd error, I remember being like, this is embarrassing. I'm my teammates are being very supportive. my coach probably wasn't happy with me, but I just remember I was really embarrassed. So I was like, I'm a Division I athlete. I just made my 3rd air, but I try and tell my girls too. I'm like, it happens. Honestly, you make airs, it happens. You got to shake it off. But I was very embarrassed.
So who was the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer throughout your time at App State?
Comedian. When I was a freshman, there were twins. Well, they're triplets, but 2 of the sisters were seniors, and Ashley Gasson and Brittany Gasson. Those are prior comedians. That's tough. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure if any of my teammates really danced. Like, I had a lot of funny teammates, I will say. And singer, I don't know if anyone sang either. We were all just kind of goofy in our own ways. Like, just we were pretty ridiculous.
So did you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
No, I honestly didn't. I listened to music on my iPod. That's what we had at the time, our iPods.
Yes.
But I didn't have like a certain playlist or anything. No, I like to listen to music, and that's probably about it. I was kind of boring.
Any strange, things happen on the softball field during a game?
The only thing is, I don't know if you consider it strange, but on warm stays, there was many times before our series and conference series that we'd have to get up at probably 6 a.m. And shovel snow off the field in order to play. So, and there's a lot of, girls who are like, you did what? And I'm like, yeah, we wanted to play. So that's what we had to do.
So how did you manage to do that? You mentioned about that. How did you manage to go from shoveling snow to actually playing?
You shovel the snow in your boots, and then you bundle up, get ready for the game. We had no other choice.
So that must be painful, like, to get up so early in the morning to do that for game day.
Yeah, it sure was, but we did it.
Is there one particular game throughout your softball journey in college that, stands out to you that you still remember?
I would say probably the one stand out was my last game. I remember being on deck. There was 2 outs. I was a senior. I was thinking, like, I probably won't get another at bat, or if I do, it's going to be my last one. So I remember that feeling very vividly, just because it was just so bittersweet. I didn't want it to end, but I knew it was coming up in the next couple minutes. So I remember that one very vividly.
We'll finish with these last 2, which is, do you still keep in contact with any of your college teammates, and have you done any clinics with them?
I do. Yeah. So I'm actually, my roommate who I had for 4 years, she's getting married in 2 weeks, or I guess 1 week now. I'm her maid of honor. A lot of our teammates are going to be there. I do trips with them. So yeah, I do. I actually did a clinic like 2 months ago, and one of my teammates helped me out there. So it's very much more than relationships you build. So I definitely have a lot of best friends still.
One last one, which is for everyone that should follow your coaching softball clinics that you do, and especially you said you had a YouTube channel as well for that. How can I follow you on social media and on your YouTube channel?
Yep. So all of my handles are MegRem Softball. I have my YouTube, I have Instagram, Facebook, and I just started doing more TikTok because I know that's where the kids are. So I don't love it. I'll be honest. I don't love TikTok, but I'm trying to do more because I know that's where the kids are. But all of my handles are MegRem Softball.
Megan, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome to have you on the show. Hopefully we'll be over in the US sometime towards the end of the year, and hopefully we can catch up over there at sometime during towards the end of this year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. And that's, of course, as she mentioned, you can follow her, of course, softball coaching and clean, especially for those, the kids out there, of course, as she mentioned, we'll put all the details up on how you can follow her and, of course, her amazing coaching videos as well. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.